Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the My Love of Golf podcast, the podcast where you can tune in and get all of your updates on PGA Tour and all that sort of stuff. Maybe even a little bit of our own personal golf. We might have some of that to talk about this week. Thanks for joining us again. Wherever you are around Australia, around the world, we really do appreciate every moment that we get to get inside your ears. Let's bring Mike in. He's there with all of the Teepster results, all of the tipping results, and all of the information about the PGA Tour and all the other stuff we're going to talk about. Let's bring him in. Magic Mike, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for taking the time to join us. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Always glad to be here on a Tuesday night with you. We have a little pre-podcast chat, and it always goes in one direction or the other. And it's always good to get a little bit of insights into your world. I got a little bit of insights into your golf on Friday, Mike, where we had the opportunity to have a little bit of a team get together with one of the podcast faithful. It was good to see you down there at St Andrews Beach. What a course!
It was good for 9 holes, and then it was pear shaped for the back 9. I gave up by that point, but no, it was good to be out. Good weather. Highs and lows of golf, but no, great course.
How was the rest of Magic Mike's mid-year madness?
It was good. We played St Andrews Beach Friday with yourself and Scott. I stayed down the beach for the weekend. So Saturday morning, I played the dunes. When I signed in, they said, did you want to play comp tomorrow morning? I said, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. That's all I knew when I got there. And it was going to be possibly raining. So a few members pulled out. I think they said to me in the morning, 25 members have pulled out from playing today. And conveniently, the 2 that I was playing with didn't show. And the reason was, 1, they thought it was going to rain. 2, it was stroke off the black tees. So that was fun. Hadn't done that and down at the dunes in a while. So that was good. It was a really good day. Sorry,
that's like sexual excitement stuff for you. Back tees off the.
That was pretty good. There was a few. I know where to lie. I partnered up with another bloke who was playing in the normal comp, which I don't know why I wasn't in that comp. So he was playing Stableford off the white. So there was holes where I was giving him 150 head start. It was pretty disappointing. But there were some tee boxes that I played off that I've never seen. I didn't know they existed, and I've played that course 1,000 times. The second hole, the tee box I teed off was the 9th tee back. Like, it was bananas, some of the tee boxes. It was good. Like, it was a struggle. It'd been a bit of rain, so I left 2 balls in the pot on 2 separate holes and made, I think it was double, and that didn't help. And then on 2, which was my back 9, I had to wait because we caught up to the people in front, and just stood there for too long and didn't think about the shot and pulled one OB, which didn't go OB. It was just lost on the fence line there somewhere in the shrub. So that didn't help either, but only finished net 75, maybe 3 over, 4 over max. Good. So that was good. It was good enough for top 10 or whatever it was. So that was okay. And then Sunday I was going to play with someone else, and that fell through. So I ended up playing with 3 lads. I played with Tony, Andy, and Jerry. 3 guys getting into it. Had all the kit. They had some very nice golf clubs. Very, very nice Jordans. But they were loving it. It was a really good day. They kept apologizing to me. So they were just getting into their golf over the last couple of years. But we had a really good day together. And I had 35 points, and I thought, that's, okay, nothing spectacular. And I think I finished 3rd in the comp. So my handicap came down a little bit. So I didn't think it was that tough a day, to be honest.
So where was the 3rd course? Sorry, I missed that.
The Dunes again. So right, okay. St Andrews Dunes. I was going to go down and play Portsea. But in the end, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to play the Dunes again. I love it here. And then I'm going to shoot back up the road to Melbourne.
We'll keep talking about our golf. But I want to give a bit of a public service announcement out, just based on what you said then. If you are newish to golf and you're picking up these golf podcasts, and there are many of them, and if you found ours, well, thank you. I don't know why you have, but if you have, and you're newish to golf, or you're thinking about going into, and you're 20-something handicapper or whatever, but you don't feel your handicap is, or your golf game is where you'd like it to be, but you go into a golf shop and you don't need to apologize to the person that's helping you in the golf shop. If you're getting a club fitting, you don't have to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not very good," or "Sorry, I haven't been playing for a while. This is really embarrassing," because the person that's helping you doesn't care. They just want to help you. They all they care about is helping you, get fitted for the right equipment. Many people have the wrong equipment through one form or another. They've been given the equipment as a starter set, and it's wrong, too short, too long, too heavy, too stiff, too soft, whatever. But the people like me that work in golf, the golf business, in the golf club fitting business, love the challenge of helping someone. So don't ever be worried about going in and asking for a fitting. And we all start somewhere. And the people that are not all the people that are working in golf retail environments are expert golfers. Many of us are, many of them are. But there are some other golfers just like yourselves. We're just there to help. Anyway, bit of a public service announcement there. I love helping people that are new to golf, especially if they're going to buy Jordans, new sticks, new bags,
That's it.
Scotty
Exactly.
cameras.
No,
You can come in anytime you want,
100%.
all of you lot.
No, I said to him on the first tee, might have been the second tee. I said to Andy, yeah, I quite like those Jordans. I didn't like the look of them on the website, but he might have talked me into buying another pair, which I don't know that I need. But no, they were good, and same as what you said then about getting fittings and stuff. Like, I don't know, the guys might have been 20, 30 handicap. I don't care. Like, don't have to apologise. Like,
exactly. That's what I
I'm
mean.
not fussed, and we're not. It's not about that. Everyone having fun, and the best part about it was the final hole. We'd all had ups and downs with the driver all day. All four of us absolutely piped drivers down the last, like all four of us. And one of the boys, Jerry, hadn't been enjoying the driver all day, and he hit this beautiful tight little draw straight down 9, and then we're all cheering, and that was good. It was a really good day. It's really nice playing. I play a lot of golf by myself. I play a lot of golf with lots of different people, different skill sets, and it's just nice playing with people that just go and enjoy the day. It was really good.
Speaking of playing with people that hadn't seen certain courses, Scott had never seen St Andrews Beach. We took him down there on Friday, which I was surprised at, but he shouldn't be because he spent the last 20 years of his life in
the States,
in another country, talking about Jordans, making the Nike brand part of what it is. What did you think that Scott thought of St Andrews Beach?
I think he enjoyed it. I think he really enjoyed it. I mean, it'd be very hard not to. He comfortably played to his handicap. He played quite well. I think it helped having two people with him that told him these are the lines you want to hit it on, and this is where you want to go. And he's good enough to hit those spots. So, no, I thought he thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think it'd be that long before he heads back.
I can't wait to see him on the course again. I did drop a special delivery over his fence on Monday night. New shaft for the ping. New shaft for the ping. It was 8:00, 8:30, something going home, and just special delivery. Dropped out up at the front, put the hazards on, threw it over the fence. Message on the way past. Shafts in the front grass, mate. Pick it up out there. So he's got the new. He was complaining about his ball flight and his spin and all of that sort of thing.
I thought his ball flight was quite good with the driver.
A little bit high, a little bit spinny, and I get that. So now he's got the tall shaft for the ping, and that shaft's got. I know he'll be listening to this because he's a regular listener, and we appreciate him. That shaft's played all around the world. That shaft's seen some of the finest low ball flight trajectories in Scotland. That shaft that's going into your driver. There you go. Hey, I saw another new course on the weekend, Mike, for the first time. Didn't play it.
Did. I thought you were going to be playing. No, I didn't play.
Couldn't play. The Lakes. Had never played the Lakes. Still haven't played the Lakes, but I went round it and took some photos and had a look.
What did you think?
Yeah, really, really, really impressed. I don't know why I'd sort of maybe thought, not low. That's not the right word, but I hadn't thought as highly of the Lakes as maybe I should have. And it's really good. Two different sides, which I knew because I used to drive up and down. When I lived in Sydney and worked up there, I used to drive past it and basically watch that redevelopment through the early 90s when Mike Clayton was putting sandy wastelands in on the front 9. And everyone was saying, what the hell are they? That doesn't look right for a golf course. Sandy wastelands, who would have ever thought that would be a thing? And so I got to saw that close up and really, really good. Can't wait to play. But they unfortunately wouldn't let members.
I was going to say Saturday morning, you'd be tough.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think Yeah, I like the course. I definitely felt like it was a tale of two nines though. I really, really liked the front nine. I didn't hate the back nine, but it was just different around the water.
Hmm.
And it didn't hurt. I think I shot one over on the front. So that never hurts how you feel about a golf course. But no, I really enjoyed it. I think the difference, I mean, I've only played a handful of courses in Sydney itself. And I've been to the Australian and watched the Aussie Open a couple of times, but there, Bonnie Doon, it's amazing. There's quite heavy trafficked roads quite close by.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think of it like in Melbourne. We're quite probably a bit lucky. You don't hear the traffic and the cars and stuff going past like you do on those three courses anyway.
Yeah.
Bit in the middle of the city in Sydney, so big city. But yeah, I think I didn't mind the courses at all. I'd be absolutely happy to go back and play that one.
Yeah, well, the main sort of arterial roads from the city down to the airport and then down to the south runs right
Yeah,
past the Australian and through the middle of the lakes. So there's a big tunnel underneath it. So you get that noise, but also much like the Sandbelt, but obviously at a vastly different scale, affected by planes. You've got plane
yeah,
activity very, very close overhead for all those courses, New South Wales, Bonnie Doon,
yeah.
and the lakes. Big aircraft coming over the top of you. But anyway, it was good. It was in Sydney. Did you get my sarcasm, Mike? Sorry, before we'll get into all the meaty stuff in a minute, but this is just catching up. Did you get my sarcasm when I posted on the My Love Golf Instagram that we hosted a get together, a My Love Golf get together at Combank Stadium?
I don't
20,
follow. I
20,
don't follow the account. I'm not sure. No, I did say. Yeah,
20,
you're with
25,000 people were there.
Not only that, you probably didn't enjoy the night that much.
I still
That's
got my
2 years. 2 years in a row.
two spanks in a row. So I was
Mm.
there for the um, yeah, no, my sarcasm was when in the post, if anyone got it, if they didn't, well, it's just me being silly with myself, is that we had a MLOG catch up at the Combank Stadium. There were 28,000
Okay.
people in attendance. I was really there for the Melbourne Grand Final, which was an absolute fizzer. We got pummeled 6-1. That was really hard. But we caught up with the great man PK, Phil
Okay.
Kethel, who's another one of the absolute loyal campaigners in the My Love Golf team. I do very much call him part of the team because
Now,
he does fill a role.
I was going to say, if we call Doc marketing, he's certainly some sort of associate marketing.
He's definitely an administrative manager of some respects because he is the backbone of the Teepster reminder service. We have many people in the Teepster competition, which we'll talk about in a second, and many people sometimes forget their tips. So PK did create a little system there. If you want to get on board, you can get reminded of your tips, and it's all thanks to PK. We sat down the front row. We were right there behind the goals. So if the pain was going to be any more real, it was right there under our eyeballs at the front row. There was nothing between us. And, I sort of recruited a Sydney fan into a Melbourne fan for the night, but it didn't go our way. But I did get to see Lockie Flanagan at work on the pitch side at work, working. He was the original founding member of the team. He did put and edit the first My Love Golf podcast together. And I watched him progress into his own media career and now works for the A-League. And he was there on the pitch with his phone out doing his little social media posts for the A-League. It was very good. Very proud father moment. But 6-1, absolutely pizzled. The boys were, and they were gutted and mortified and still are. Anyway, there's a couple of golf tournaments going on in and around that time when we're off gallivanting up to Sydney and back for a day and you down to the Magic Mike's mid-year madness. We had the Memorial Tournament, fairly big one, a elevated event.
Mm.
And victorious. And Victor finally salutes.
He did. I didn't think he was going to get there, to be honest. It was quite a rough watch for a lot of the guys coming through the back nine, especially the last 2 or 3 holes. Everyone was just absolutely choking up because it was very, very tough, playing quite tough. I mean, when you get a winning score after 72 holes of 7 under, it must be playing pretty tough. Victor came in quite strong, so he's 2 under through his last 4 holes. Got him into the playoff, which was good. Danny McCarthy was the other man in the playoff, and he probably, I didn't say let himself down. He bogeyed the last to end up falling into the playoff with Victor. But God, he putted well. I mean, he was only in the mix because of his putt. I'll look up his stats in a second, but he was absolutely red hot with the putter this week. And then they went to the playoff, and yeah, Victor got him. Victor got him.
Finally got the PGA Tour
Finally got
win that everyone's been forecasting for a long time since he's been dabbling on the PGA Tour. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. So, or maybe it's not as long, but it seems like a long time because he's certainly been there or thereabouts in everyone's tips and discussions. He'll be a big Ryder Cup of this year, obviously. So it's great to see Victor. And if you look at the winners, or not the winners, the top half of the field there. If you run down the top, it's top 16 because there's no 15th. It was 12th, T12 down to T16. All the big names that you definitely spoke about last week were definitely there, and a couple that I personally thought might not have been there. One, Jordan Spieth, but he was definitely in your factorings. Ricardo was there, Ricardo Fowler.
Yeah, poor third round didn't help him, but yeah, he was my Teepster pick last week. Was Ricky,
and the other bloke that you would expect to, once he gets a sniff, win these things, just not quite getting there, but certainly still at the pointy end is Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah,
what's he doing? Why is he not converting? Why is he not converting?
It's a putter. We talked about him 3-4 weeks ago. We said his putter's getting cold, or it had been cold. His putter the last fortnight has just got worse and worse. So I'm just going to look him up now. So Scotty Scheffler, he's had an okay year with the putter. It was pretty poor middle of last year, but then he's sort of been pretty good. Masters, we know that he putted poorly. We called that out at the time. He's pretty much square with the field through the PGA. Last two events, Charles Schwab lost a shot a round, and this week he lost 2 shots a round with the putter. I mean, that's something's fundamentally wrong with him on the putter, and I'd be shocked if it's not mental. I mean, the putting is mental as it is, but yeah, he's now gone from start of this year probably averaging, I don't know, maybe half a shot above the tour average to now being bang on just below tour average in putting, which is, when you're the number one golfer in the world, is pretty weird, because it's the one thing that's very, very hard to measure and very, very hard to sort of pick when it's going to come good. But when I say measure, you measure it obviously, but measure when it's going to come good or go bad. Outside of people like putting, say, on certain types of grass and things. But yeah, I don't know. I won't say it's concerning yet. His last, I'll go back, his last handful of starts: third, second, fifth, 11th, 10th, fourth win, 4th, 12th win, 11th, 7th, second, 9th, third. I mean, that's up back to November. There's not many outside the top 10. Plus, he's got 2 wins in there. It's not exactly panic stations, but gee, imagine he was putting well. Be unbelievable.
So you're on the number one player in the world advisory committee. What are you saying to him about the putting? What are you saying? Change it. Get a new putter, get a new grip. Change something. Or what are you doing?
Side saddle claw. First thing we try. That's always worked for me. Now, what would I do? I don't know. The honest answer is I'd just say that the first thing I'd say to him is, what's your favourite putter? I don't care what you've got in your hand now. What's your favourite putter? I can guarantee you've got a stack of them at home. Get that in your hands to start with. You want to have something in your hands that makes you gives you good vibes, and then literally just go and putt. Like, don't forget the mechanics. Just get back to feel. He's going to have more of a chance of getting back to something good by finding feel with something that he likes, rather than sitting down and grinding over mechanics, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just changing something. Like, if you can feel, he'll definitely having to be feeling something. Like, it just doesn't go that bad and be that good, and not be able to feel something's not quite working. So easy for me to say, but you've just got to change something, whether it's just in practice and in development, but you've just got to change and refound that confidence. And for me, the grip is being talked about when his putting's being talked about. He's changing the grip, something that everyone sort of pops up. I'll just go to the claw, but it's funnily enough, it just takes away, changes the whole neural pathways and can actually work. And sometimes I only use it for a round, and it's enough to just to sort of sync that sort of cognitive connection to the putter and the ball rolling. But
then it comes back to, once you do get to that point, it then comes back to feel and confidence, like you said, right? Yeah. So for me, I've used the claw I've talked about this before. Like, I've used it since Chris DeMarco. Chris DeMarco was the reason I started using the claw, and I've used it ever since. So 20 years of putting with it. But when I'm off the green, if I want to have a look at a little putt that's just coming through a bit of rough, I never use the claw. I always go with a normal grip because for some reason in my brain, I feel like I'm sturdier. Then now I'm finding that no, I actually still quite like the claw. So it all comes down to feel. So when he gets that feeling, whether it's new or whatever it is that he comes back to, he just has to trust his gut. Don't go to the mechanic, I reckon.
Tough one. But yeah.
So, I mean, look, we can sort him out in 10 minutes.
Exactly right. We shouldn't feel that bad for him because he's probably just pocketed another 400,000 or something like that, and he's doing okay. Who else was up there that we expected, or who was up there that we expected that sort of maybe, or we didn't expect, that performed better than should have been, or better than we expected?
He picked up 1.4 million.
Yeah, sorry,
didn't putt before, and it's an elevated event.
Sorry,
he didn't putt well, and he's just going over 1.4. The poor bloke.
Yeah.
I think it was, look, the ones that I worked around in my picks this week. Siwoo Kim, who finished 4th. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler's a superstar. I didn't have Victor. Won't lie to you. I did not see him coming good here. It's a course where you get a lot of choppy lies around the green and rough, and we know he can't chip. But this week he had a good week, and that's the way it goes around the green. He was pretty much square with a normal, or the rest of the field. Spieth, as we said last week, Rory's up there. I mean, Rory had a poor final round. If he doesn't have that poor final round, he was pretty poor with his wedges into greens. He again's right in the mix. I mean, I know we lumber onto the bloke because he hasn't won. I mean, he hasn't won again in the last, say, 3 or 4 months, but he's still getting himself in the right positions. I think I'm not concerned about him at all.
It shows the quality and the difference that they can play not to their best and still perform at the top level, and not to. It's not a fair reference, but a player an Australian player that we've spoken about very highly, and have already lobbed a heap of expectation on. It's young Dave Micheluzzi, who had an invite into this tournament, and didn't make the cut, and it was like plus, what was Mika? Yeah, he was like +9 or something like that. So he didn't have the greatest 2 days, obviously, but he came out and said it was tough.
Yeah.
And when we know the quality of this young fella, because we've seen him play 7, 8, 9, 10 under at Peninsula Kingswood, and we see him playing the Sandbelt Classics against Cam Davis, and give him a run for his money. When you see these guys not performing at their best, but still being up there, it just shows how far they are above everyone else in the world.
Oh, they're just and their skill set that's why they are where they are. They're freaks. But as well, Mick is a very, very good player. But he just needs more time on these tracks.
Yeah, of course.
I know you're not saying anything different, but I mean, once he gets a feel for it, 1 year of traveling around, knowing where to stay, knowing where to be on course, knowing where to eat dinner, knowing what works for you. He's just got to get in that groove, and he'll be fine. I'm not concerned about him.
And please don't think I was saying having a go at that. Wasn't having
no. I know.
I was just using that as a reference, as we know who's a really good player, and he found it tough at that course. Yes, he hasn't played there before and all that sort of. He obviously had his practice rounds, but Cam Davis was there at the same.
I was going to say the guys that are right around him. Cam Davis has finished 9 over.
Yeah, Aaron Rye, no slouch. Corey Connors, no slouch. One of the Hoygas, no slouch.
Yeah. Kurt Kitayama. We're talking about Kurt Kitayama possibly making a Ryder Cup team, and he finished +11. So everyone.
Why, like the course is rough, so long. You see all these players have so much trouble around the greens, getting wedges to balls and flobbing it out, and like in an Instagram grab and a short little sort of grab, it sort of looks half sort of interesting, comical. Oh wow, that was hard, but it can't make for great golf, enjoyable golf. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think the around the green stuff didn't. I mean, it is a bit. If you miss the green, you're going to get penalised, and that's why it's there. I think the biggest test for it though is off the tee. I mean, I think that if you look at some of the shots that people had when they're trying to not hit driver off tees, and they're just almost petrified not to hit it in the wrong spot, they're putting so much pressure on themselves. They're hitting it in the wrong spot. I mean, I saw Siwoo Kim on the final round with, I reckon he had an iron in his hand off one of the tees, and as soon as he let it go, he had one hand off the club, and it was flying straight towards the left-hand rough, and I was like, oh God, that's gone. And went straight in the drink, tiny little creek there, swallowed up, gone. And the creek was probably only a meter, 2 meters off the fairway, off that first cut. So it's narrow enough. It tests you. It's a ball striker's course. You really need to make sure you're in play, and then you got to make sure you hit greens, and then you got to make sure you get putts. That's why you're getting guys like Scotty Scheffler doing 9 out of 10 things perfectly, but not making any putts and still finishing in the top 5. Yeah, Spieth, Adam Scott, these guys are elite ball strikers.
To slip back down to the other end of the field there for a second. I don't know if you caught any of the town crier, Billy Horschel, and his round one presser.
Yeah.
Where he shot like 84 or something like that. And, fairly open and honest. Now, probably I'm not the biggest Billy Horschel fan. I don't dislike him, but, he's not one that I would follow. Says a bit, can be, he's a little bit polarizing for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, definitely. 100%.
But I thought it was great that he was able to still front the media. I wasn't sure if he was on the media schedule anyway, or he's defending champion, wasn't he?
He was defending champion.
Yeah, so he would have been on the media schedule probably. It was on there on the website. To still front up at the media call and talk about it so openly and honestly, I thought that was pretty good, and well done to Billy for just having the guts to sit out there and do what he needs to do. And if more players fronted up and were honest and open and continued to front up to the media and just let us have it, I think that would be one of the elements that would make viewing the game of golf at this level, the professional level, a little bit more rewarding, a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah.
We love seeing the great stuff, but we want to see the real stuff as well.
No, definitely.
And we don't want to see Dylan Fratelli. He was ill, but as was reported, he buggered off at the 15th hole and then went and had a couple of milkshakes in the players' room before checking out. So you don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that. No, 100%. I think Billy's, like you said, he's polarizing. I've just checked the PGA Tour media website. So he was scheduled for Wednesday Pro-Am interview, but he wouldn't have been for round one. So they've gone and asked him, and he's probably because he was defending champ and had such a poor day that they wanted to have a chat. I think he gets probably he's polarizing because he always says what he thinks, and that's good and that's bad, right? Because sometimes you kind of need to rein it in, and people will always attack you when they don't agree with what you're saying, even if you're just saying what you think, right? But if you think about what the guy's gone through, he's been quite open. His wife had troubles with alcohol for quite a long time. She's been sober now. I want to say it's 2 years. I think they said they were celebrating this week. And he's been very open with that. I mean, that's something that most people wouldn't even want to talk about to some of their mates, let alone the world. And you have to respect him and his family for that and just being so open. And then to watch him literally pause because he's going to be almost in a ball of tears, talking about how far away he is from getting his game back, defending. He's not long ago signed on to the new Tiger Woods, Rory Monday Night Golf extravaganza that's coming in the next sort of 12 months. He'd be a bit embarrassed and a bit concerned and a little bit of everything. So yeah, I just thought it was really good for him to just speak freely and openly.
Okay. Anyone else there on that list there that we need to talk about? I do want to have one thing just back to Viktor Hovland, something we've never done before. But is there anything else?
No, I was just going to tell you who picked him in Teepster this week.
Well, let's do my part, and then we can talk about Teepster. What I was going to do was just run through what was in Viktor Hovland's bag. I usually always like on a Monday have a look what was in the bag, so it usually gives me something to talk to all the people about if they come in asking about something. Marketing at work, people want to know what the tour players are using. But I found this one interesting because there's a whole heap of new ping stuff. Victor uses all ping. As you see, his ping bag. And Scott, who got the shaft delivery over the fence in Elwood at 8:30 at night the other night, he also uses ping, or ping driver. Victor's got the ping G425. Now, what was interesting about that? That's the previous model. It's not so old. But it's certainly last year's model. Plays it at 8.4 degrees. So it's a 9-degree head playing at 8.4. And he uses a Fujikura Speeder 661 TRX. So that's the Tour X, a very, very high quality shaft by the Fujikura brand. He's got a TaylorMade Stealth Plus 15-degree 3-wood. He's playing that at 16.5. So that's the one with the adjustable head. And he's got the Ventus Blue 7X. So the Fujikura Ventus Blue, you've seen a lot of the players use those blue Ventus. I think Rory uses them. Minwoo uses a red one. They're very, very popular, very, very high quality shaft. And he's got a 7-wood, another interesting thing. And what's interesting is as soon as guys like these guys start using 7-woods, now, if I said 3 years ago, hey, mate, you should have a 7-wood in your bag, you would have laughed at me. It's amazing it's amazing how many 7-woods we're getting asked for. People coming, oh, do you have a 7-wood in the
Heavenwood
Ping G430? So no, we don't.
You know why? Because all the pros are putting them in.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
But it absolutely qualifies something that I've been talking about for a long time ago. You should have a 7-wood, not a 3-iron. Just put a 7-wood in, just put a 7. And it's such an easy club to hit. You know, I struggle with hybrids, struggle with 3 hybrid, put a 7-wood in. Oh, no, really? And then people like me don't carry them. But Victor's got a 7-wood G430 Max 7-wood playing at 18.75 degrees. That would be an absolute weapon of a club to have in your bag. The other thing that he's got is an older model, again, I210s. Really good iron. It's not a full blade. It's a more generous head. It's cavity. It's got the insert at the back, with the rubber insert that sits in behind the face to make it feel and sound really good. But it's definitely not a blade. So again, one of the best ball strikers in the world doesn't have to use a full blade. This has got I wouldn't say it's an offset, but it's got certainly a little bit more offset than a true blade, and just a bit more generous head. So he's valuing forgiveness over that pure blade strike. He's got the KBS Tour 120X, so that's a fairly standard shaft and an X-Flex. Like if you're a stronger player, you can get away with using that sort of shaft. Pretty good. He's got the Ping Glide 4 wedges, so he's got a 50, a 56, and a 60 in the standard bounces. So he's got the torso in the 60. So he's got the standard bounce and the 56 would be, I think it's about a 10 or 12 in that club, and then you'd have like 8 or so in the lob wedge. Pretty standard sort of setup, a higher bounce and a lower bounce. And he's got the Ping PLD DS72 prototype. So the PLD, you can get one of those in a golf shop. PLD, that's a milled one, 4 hours worth of milling. He's got the rusty version. So he's full Ping, and I just thought I'd have a look at that. But I thought it was interesting that he's still using some older clubs. You don't always have to upgrade to the new ones. Of course, if they're going to give you a benefit, you should.
If you do, go to Drummond, Melbourne.
Go to any one of the drummer stores all around the country. There are plenty of them, more than any other store in Australia, but there are plenty of them. Go there and they'll help you out. But anyway, just what's in the bag with Viktor Hovland.
With Big Vic.
If you want me to do more what's in the bags and a little bit of a deep dive in what I think about what's in the bag and why, let me know. If you don't want me to, if you want to give what's in the bag wide berth, let me know too.
The people that had Vic, there was a lot this week. A lot of people had Victor as their number one pick. Tyrone Road, Mike Crosby, Nomadic Golfer, Justin Bissiker. I feel like I say Justin Bissiker's name every other week. The Doctor Marketing, Public Golf. Golf is an attitude. Blakey. Must have been a live week this week. All the live boys are on Victor. Might think he's jumping ship. Golf is an attitude. The other live man in the Discord, Jared Lotes, and Hoops78 all had Victor. One person will get a shout out. That's my mum. My mum had Scotty Scheffler. She was very nervous through Saturday, and she was very happy. I was just waiting for the text on Monday morning when Scotty shot up the leaderboard. The overall leaderboard, Roscoe, you're down to 5th.
Yeah.
With a touch, 85K under 15 million. You're at 15, just under 15. Golfing Tattooist has now clipped you. He's at 15.3. KT is at 15.32. So it's $10,000 between 4th and 3rd. Jim J is another $45,000 ahead at 15.37 million in 2nd. And our new leader.
Didn't he let me know about it come Monday? He said, I can't believe I missed 3 cuts and missed a pick.
Here he is, of course.
Yeah.
Golf is an attitude.
A very own rules expert from the Live Tour and the Asian Tour, David Blake. Blakey, golf is an attitude. You can get him at Golf Rules Questions if you want to know about golf and how to play the game according to the rules. Talk to Blakey. Well done, David.
That's it. That's it. So yeah, they all had very big weeks.
Patrick Cantlay. I'll reserve for my own personal thoughts what I thought about your final round, Patrick, and how you put me further away out of touch with the leadership of the Teepster. I thought you were a champion up until the last round.
Yeah,
Good on
6
you,
over.
Patrick.
6 over ain't going to do it. No,
Like 6 over. Who like he's like one of the best players. Come on, Patrick.
Where did he do it? I'll tell you where he did it.
Lift, Patrick. And a few of us had Patrick Cantlay as well.
Yeah, he was a popular pick there.
Well,
Definitely
I
a popular
thought he was
pick.
a Monty for a elevated event, for at least some decent amount of bank, but definitely not. It's fairly close. Like the top 5, we're all
very, very close. Very, very close.
Very close.
I'm trying to figure out what he did wrong. Paddy Ice, he did nothing right. That's a problem. In round 4, he lost strokes across the board. Literally everything. Putting around the greens, approach, off the tee. That ain't going to do it.
Okay.
For the week, his biggest weakness was the putter. A little bit like Scotty.
You know what happens now? Is he in the RBC Canadian Open field? Probably comes out and wins.
No, I don't think he is this week. I will skip into that now, and then we can talk about some couple of other tournaments. No, he's not. It's a very, very, very different field this week. It's obviously the week before a major, so there's not too many people hanging around. A lot of people that went to even US Open qualifying today, if they got into US Open qualifying and had been signed up for the Canadian Open, they all said, "No, I'm going to might just pass that Canadian event and just head over to LA and get ready to play." So no, I was going to say Viktor Hovland, but no Patrick Cantlay this week either. Rory's playing. Rory is the favourite at a lazy $5.50. Tyrrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick, Cameron Young, Sam Burns, Corey Connors, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, Sahith Theegala, Keith Mitchell, and then you're starting to get lean. A couple of podcast favourites: Adrian Moronk, Adam Svensson. But yeah, after that, it really does drop away very quickly.
Oh, it's not getting lean in the top Scott department. You've got the two favourites. You've got Marty Laird and Rusty Knox.
They're both there, are they?
They're both there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have either. I think some of them figure out a way to both not get there.
And I think Rusty will get the chocolates over Marty Laird this week in the top Scott.
It's a funny event this week. It's one where we have no course form. They haven't been here before. It's a course in the middle of town, but it's a course that they've done a little bit of angling to get a big tournament there, and they've got the Canadian Open there this year, first time. So we don't know how it's going to play. Got no idea. I had a really, really quick look at it. It looks like a course where you're going to need to go low. I wouldn't be shocked to see the winner at 20 something under. I mean, you're talking about a course that isn't super long. It's a composite. I think they've got either 3 9s or 2 18s there at least. I know the guys that the power brokers at the course had actually visited Royal Melbourne and spoken to the guys there about how a composite would work and how they organise it. Part of the workings in getting it there in the first place. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a funny week. You've got to be a little bit concerned about some of the big names and how switched on they truly are to be in Canada the week before the US Open. I'm probably leaning to someone from the same part of the world, maybe Tyrrell, maybe Justin Rose, maybe Rory. I mean, Rory's won his last 2 starts here at the Canadian Open. The last 2 times it's been held. It missed a couple because of COVID. So Rory is your defending champion. Don't know. I think a lot of people, if they haven't had Rory, will probably take him this week.
What about Ludwig?
Ludwig will be there. He missed US Open qualifying today, so I would say he'll still be playing. Blocky will be there. Rocket's favourite, Michael Block. He also missed out in US Open qualifying, I think. So those guys will be there. So will Rocket's other favourite, Ludwig's not an AM anymore, Thunder Cub, Thor Bjornsson. He's also playing in this event, and he did get a start in the US Open next week, I believe.
Michael Thor Bjornsson?
I don't know. It might be Michael, yeah.
Michael Thor, he's there on a sponsor exemption.
Yep.
As is Morocco, he's got a
Well,
sponsor.
he won his sectional for final spots into the US Open next week today. So I'm assuming he's still playing because he's got a sponsor's exemption. You wouldn't want to cancel that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Jeff's playing too. Aussie Jeff Ogilvy.
He is playing. Yeah.
He
He did not make it through qualifying today.
but someone did. Another Aussie did make it through qualifying.
He did. There's a few. Yeah. Well, we should probably have, well, before we do that, do you want to,
Okay.
who are you going to pick?
Yeah, good question. Good question. I'm probably getting low in the better players here, but it's probably one I might throw a Corey Connors or something like that in there.
Yep. Corey Connors. I mean, I've got a data late. Don't put any stock in it because we just don't know. But Corey Connors ranked third in the data late this week. I'll give you the quick top 15 actually, because we always do that. Now, this is very rough because we just don't know anything about the course. So Justin Rose, Tua Hatton, Corey Connors, Cameron Young, Ben Martin, Joseph Bramlett, Nick Taylor, Akshay Bhatia, Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Dylan Wu, Sahith Theegala, Adam Svensson, Nate Lashley, and Adam Hadwin. The only other two that I've highlighted outside of those top guys, Eric Cole and Sam Burns, both around, not far away.
Corey Connors and Adam Hadwin, the two Canadians.
Connors is Canadian. Svensson's Canadian.
I think Adam Hadwin is too.
Adam Hadwin is definitely Canadian. Yeah, they'll have a few. Bit of pressure. My memory says a Canadian hasn't won or hasn't won for a long time, because I remember Mike Weir playing this every year, and every year the pressure was super high, and I'm pretty sure he never won.
Well, he's back there with a sponsor exemption to play again. Is old Mike Weir, and so is Camilo Villegas.
Camilo, yes. I remember watching him down at Moon Links 15 odd years ago, I reckon it was. And there was no one there that knew who Camilo Villegas was. He was only just coming off, I don't think he's coming out of college, but he was coming off a year on, back then it was the web.com tour, I think. And back when we had a web.com event in Melbourne, we know that Ewan Porter won and punched his ticket onto the PGA Tour. But yeah, I think we had 2 or 3 years here of it, and I remember following Camilo around all day one day. It was good.
Okay, US Open qualifying. How did the Aussies fare in the final sectionals for US Open qualifying?
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, I won't bore everybody. I'll quickly run through. At Tacoma in Washington, we had 54 players, only 2 spots. 2 people we don't know got through, so I'm not going to worry about mentioning them. There's not many notables there either. Probably the best story that was coming out of there was a guy who was, anyone that follows the Monday Q info on Twitter, there was a guy who noticed on Twitter that a player hadn't been able to get there, and he was first alternate, and he'd only noticed through the social media. So he shot over and made it with about 2 hours before his tee time and got in after round 1 was leading. It was a massive chance to get in and get a spot. And then round 2 was a 2-round tournament. He didn't play quite as well, but it was pretty good to just turn up and be right in the mix. Springfield, we had 75 players for 5 spots. The only guys we'd know in the 5, Taylor Pendrith, Nick Hardy, Dylan Wu, Vincent Whaley, guys that tried and missed. Mark Hubbard, Zach Blair, JJ Spawn, and Troy Merritt, Kramer Hickok. I'll just keep flicking through. North Carolina, we had 76 players trying for 5 spots. Paul Barjon has been playing a few events here and there on the PGA Tour, and Doc Redman's a second alternate, didn't get in. Notables that missed, Jason Hadley, Spencer Levine. Pretty sure my boy Harold Varner III was there as well, but I can't see him listed. This is from the PGA Tour website, so maybe they've scrapped all the live players off their. No, they haven't.
Mark
I can see Leisure's on there as well.
Yeah.
But yes, at a North Course at Woodmont Country Club, Carl Phillips, Aussie Carl, got in.
Koala Carl Phillips.
Stanford Jr. Made just 4 bogeys. It was a nifty pairing to watch. So Carl gets in. He's in the US Open next week, joining a bunch of Aussies. Mark Leishman did miss there, and so did Tom Lovelady and Joseph Bramlett, who's playing. We just mentioned him. He's playing on the Canadian Open this week. Columbus is one that's always a big one because effectively I think they call this Super Monday or whatever they call the longest day in golf, because they have all these last sectionals and last spots in. And the one in Columbus is always massive because you got the Memorial in Columbus and everyone shoots over here. So 103 players try to get spots here. They only gave out 11, so 10% of the field got through. Olin Brown, Eric Cole, Luke List, Patrick Rogers. So Luke List pulled out of Canadian Open. Stuart Sink, Kevin Streelman, all got through. Notables that missed, bit long list. Eric Van Rooyen, Cameron Champ, Tyson Alexander, Aaron Badley, William McGirt, Kevin Chappell, Chris Gotterup, Kevin Tway, Peter Malnati, David Leemurth. Lots of people missed. In Florida, Florida. 51 players for 3 spots. Carlos Ortiz got through from the Live Tour. Christian DeMarco and Cameron Kuchar both missed. Now, those names would be quite reminiscent to a lot of the listeners, familiar. Christian DeMarco is Chris DeMarco's son, and Cameron Kuchar is Matt Kuchar's son. So they both just missed out. But yeah, you can tell you're getting old when blokes that we watched sons are trying to get onto a US Open. I'm not going to keep going through all of them, but effectively, yeah, Michael Thorbjornsen is probably one of the standouts. He's one of the AMs who's playing this week, as we talked about. He won his sectional. Harrison Endicott missed there. Yeah, and that was it really. They're the main ones. I think the main stat that I saw, I think it was really good. I'm going to say really good. It's what should happen. I think there's about 17 guys from the Live Tour that tried out today to get final spots, and I think 4 got through. Sergio got through as one of those 4. Sebastian Munoz, yep. James Piot I saw was there. He didn't make it. I can't remember who the other ones are. Rio Ishikawa, is he on there? No, I can't remember. Yeah, it was a it's good. It's good to see those guys. You know, they want to play majors, so it's good to see them having a crack. I'm still disappointed. Your mate didn't try, which I thought was weird.
My mate being, I've got
your mate.
mates.
What's his name? Gooch. Taylor Gooch.
All right.
Okay. I think he's mad. I don't understand why he wouldn't just.
He's got the brace and bits. He should have been there without having to qualify. But anyway, let's not go back down that rabbit hole. No, Rio Ishikawa is qualified. He qualified the same time as Sergio, but he's not a Live player,
isn't he?
No. There you go. Mike, we had another great event. It was a new event, the Mizuho Americas Open at Liberty National, and we saw. I don't know if you call it a changing of the guard, but you definitely saw 2 of the future stars, current stars, future stars, the future of women's golf standing out, Rose Zhang and Jennifer Kupcho. And Rose Zhang, in her first ever professional tournament, comes out and gets a win. Now,
yeah,
it might not be surprising to some, but if you just listen to that on its own, you probably think, wow, how does that happen? But, we know Rose Zhang has been the leading women amateur golfer for a number of years, and she's played amateur golf for a number of years, and it wasn't that many months ago that she was just playing in the ANWA, the Augusta National Women's Amateur event, and here she's winning her first ever LPGA tournament. It's a pretty good effort.
It is. I mean, the No Laying Up guys have done a lot with her over the last at least 12 or 18 months. Lots of videos and stuff. So I think most of the guys and girls that follow them would have seen videos of her before. Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago she became the most winningest player out of Stanford, passing Tiger. It was some sort of stat like that I heard. So I hope that's right. But yeah, just looking at her world amateur golf ranking. Back into 2022, she's gone first, 12th, first, 5th, first. That's pretty good.
Bad, is it?
that's a reasonable result. So yeah, fair to say, coming on to the LPGA Tour, there was going to be a bit of pressure, and also a lot of people expecting big things. So to turn it on in, I think, round 3, she was leading. And then to watch her, I watched the final round and watch her hang on and just punch out rock solid pars, and just played just really rock solid golf all day. Which she only made she made 2 bogeys for the day, but the final hole she made a bogey to get into the playoff. Was just so impressive to watch. Yeah, very, very, very impressive stuff. And yeah, her world golf ranking, funnily enough, she was sitting. She obviously doesn't play many events to be on the world golf rankings outside of AM. So she was ranked 482 in the world, and now she's ranked number 62 in 1 week.
Imagine at the start of this tournament and the Solheim Cup, it's obviously Solheim Cup year. Captain comes up to you and says, "Oh, by the way, Rose, if you win this week, you will be eligible for the Solheim Cup." Oh, okay,
Yeah.
boss. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
And it goes out and wins. So she's now eligible to play for the US in the Solheim Cup. Wow, what a way to qualify for that. Yeah, the one and only chance you get to win, and you go out and win. This is going to sound stupid, but would you rather? Would you want to come out and win your first ever tournament? Being the eyes of the world and the expectations of the golfing world are already on you for being, one of the most elite amateurs to ever come into the professional game. Do you want to come out in your first tournament and win? Or do you just want to maybe get a sneaky 3rd, 4th, or 5th, and just show the world that you're there? Or,
I would say for her, I'd say for her, just win. Like don't, no matter what she did, she's gonna feel pressure. She's not just a talent, she's a super talent. She's American. She doesn't matter whether she finished last or first this week, she's gonna have pressure for the rest of her days. So you may as well win it. I mean, we only saw Grace Kim, what was her 3rd start that won the other week. I mean, she's not gonna have to deal with as much pressure as Rose is gonna have. Win it and go on. She doesn't look like she's gonna be flustered by too much. It'll be very, very interesting to see how she goes. We've talked a little bit about Lynn Grant coming over from Europe to play, who's quite a talent as well, a little bit older. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch the women's tour for the next few months.
Well, the names that you would expect to be up there were certainly up there. Firue, who we talked about last week, in T4. Ryu from Korea in 3rd. Who else do we have? Ashley Buhai, winner of the Australian Women's Open and the British Women's Open last year. Leona Maguire, Steph Kiriakou, so Tidicool, Madeline Sagstrom, all the great names. Will always come to the cream at Liberty National. First time we'd seen the women play there.
No, Minjee was right up there too. I think through 2 rounds, I remember seeing her name at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, Rose Zhang, first start, 412,000 US, bang, straight in the bank.
Beautiful.
If you're gonna give up your amateur status, that's a good way to do it.
Not bad, eh? You mentioned Grace Kim. She made the weekend and finished T43 +3. So it's good to see her playing some regular golf, which is very good. She's had a couple of miscuts, but a talent that we'll see more of, and another one of the great young Aussies out there doing it on tour. Some good golf coming up, Mike, in the next month. I think past the Canadian Open, we've got the US Open at LA Country Club. The amount of people that I know that think I have all these connections in golf around the world to help them get games, which is absolutely not true. There's been about at least 4 or 5 people that have been in America the last few months saying, "Have you got any connections that can get me on LACC?" Everyone wants to play there, so I think everyone's going to want to watch. I can't remember the names of the architects that really turned the LACC North course on its head. So we'll talk about this next week in a little bit more detail. I'm not sure if we'll get the majors man back on. He's traveling everywhere, but we probably will try. So we might do a deep dive on LACC next week. What else we got? We've got the Women's British Open at Walton Heath. Haven't had a tournament there since the British Masters 4 or 5, 6 years ago. It looked great then. I'm sure it's going to look great for the women playing there. Scottish Open at Renaissance. We've got the Open. Well, what else have we got? Because there's heaps of stuff coming up. It's going to be great.
No, it's going to be big few months. Yeah, probably the US Open next week's the one that I'm most looking forward to. Being a bit selfish, I know we've got listeners all around the world, but being a bit selfish in Melbourne, it's been a little bit rough with these East Coast events, East Coast US events, because they start quite early. So yeah, and I'm an early bird, so when I'm getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I get to watch a couple of hours of golf and that's it. Whereas when we're playing in LA next week for the US Open, much more civilized. I'll be able to sit there on Saturday up until probably close to lunchtime watching golf, which will be delightful.
We skipped over the European Open, which was held last week at the Porsche Nord course, the Green Eagle golf courses. Don't know much about that place, and I don't know much about young
Rory's mate.
What's his name? Tom McKibben? Is it Tom?
Tom McKibben from I only know because I saw him interviewed, and he was interviewed after he won, and he's from Hollywood, same part of
Yep.
part of the world as Rory.
Northern Ireland.
And they said, "Oh, it would be good if Rory wins." So, oh, yeah, great if we, two of us win on the same day. So, good luck tomorrow. Okay, mate, no worries. Yeah, he looked like he was really happy to win, which is great. I think obviously would have been his first win. But yeah, had the proper accent and everything. It was good value.
Don't know much about him, but I'm sure we'll get to see a little bit more of him. But who I do know a little bit more about is Marcel Siem, who's had a rough trot in the last few years, but he's ground his way back off the Challenge Tour, and wherever he plays now that he's back on the DP World Tour, he's a fan favourite and is playing pretty good golf. And he finished tied second. But really, there's just full of a whole heap of names that a lot of them, aren't regulars in the name of the big scenes of golf. Davey Law, Connor Symes going through the Scotts, Ewan Ferguson, Bobby McIntyre. He should be much further at the top of the pointy end of these fields.
He's clearly just. I mean, I can look up these numbers, but Bobby's just clearly not finding it at the moment, which is disappointing because he's clearly got talent. It's just he's got to whatever he's missing, he's got to go and get it again.
Probably not look. Who knows what's going to happen. He wouldn't be featuring in a European Ryder Cup team at the moment, would he?
Oh, he'd be. I don't think so. He'd be right on the border. I think. I mean, but he'd need to show something.
A European Ryder Cup team with a Scotsman in it is always a stronger one, but he's got to show something.
I mean, I'm just looking at his numbers now. I mean, his putting's been poor. He actually, the honest answer is, I can't see one thing he's doing well. And that's the honest answer. Yep. And that stacks up.
Well, it's showing his results. Anyway, they've got the Scandinavian mixed.
They do. Event. They do. Be very, very interesting. I think. I think I'm going to follow Lynn Grant on this one. I've got a funny feeling. I think the two favourites are the ones to watch: Lynn Grant and Alex Noren. I think one of those two will be taking home the silverware.
Lynn Grant, another one of those young women golfers that's not been plying her professional trade for too long. Played in the US the other week for the first time, and big things for her. She played in this last year and set the world on fire there, wasn't it? As an amateur, I'm pretty sure last year that was when the world got to know about Lynn Grant. My memories fade me because I'm pretty old.
She's certainly been on a tear the last 12 months. And as we said last week, she's just been biding her time to be able to get over to play in the US. Had a good first event over there in the match play. Just missed she lost it gets us the semis before heading into the final. Her results, if I look them up very quickly, no, I don't have them. Don't have those ones there. But yeah, that does ring a bell that she played well there.
Okay, Mike. Anything else?
No, I did. The only thing else I can tell you is that I had a dream Zhang won the US Open. So just
you had a dream.
Save that and record it and just keep it ready for next week if he does win.
You had a dream. So when you dream, that's funny enough. I was talking about dreams this morning to my wife. We had a coffee together, and I said I had a dream last night. She said, "What was it about?" I said, "I can't remember, but I had a dream. I remember having a weird dream last night. I can't remember what it was." She says, "You never remember your dreams?" I said, "No, I don't."
No, I think there's supposed to be two types of people that do and people that don't. I don't think I normally do, but I just remember. I remember was I was putting a bet on, and I mucked up the value, and I bet way more than I would normally bet, and it was and I couldn't. And I woke up in the morning, and I'm like, "Who was the player?" And I could only remember that he was Asian. It took me about 10 minutes to realize it was Sung Jae Im. I was like, "It was Sung Jae." I'm gonna have to go and bet on him.
Well, if anyone's going to mess a bet up and over bet or push the wrong button, it's going to be me.
That's it.
Dear. Sung Jae Im. Okay. Right. Thanks for joining us again, as we said, and to you guys and girls all around the world listening to this podcast, thank you for joining us. If you've got anything you want to tell us, any feedback, any suggestions, anything you want to hear more of, less of, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. It's great to catch up with you last week playing golf. We should do it more often, Mike. It was enjoyable. That was my first round in about 3 months. The stand-up desk has certainly got me more mobile. I was good until about, what hole was it, the 15th?
But you were carrying too, which doesn't help.
I was carrying my clubs. So
carrying
it was half set.
at St Andrews, which is not probably one of the very few courses I don't normally walk, but we did walk.
Yeah, well, but I only had a half set of Strixon Z Forge 2s, which were really nice. But it was going good until my legs started. I got tired there. That back, what was it, 15, 14? 14, 15, hard 16. Yeah, hard 16, hard 17.
Oh, the hardest hole on the course that I don't know. It's like a par 4.5.
Yeah, par that.
Yeah,
par that. So I was all right.
No, you didn't. No, not that one. The real long one up into the thingo.
Oh no, I didn't par that. No, I hit about 87 on that hole.
No, we all did. No, I think Scotty did made a par as the toughest hole.
I played that like an absolute Z grader. I was in the right, and then in the left, and then in the right, and then over the bunker, and then on.
It was playing for anyone at home. It was playing into anyone who's played at St Andrews. We were playing off the back tees because we're masochists, and you tee off, and it's a blind tee shot to like a big hog's back, and you need to land within, I don't know, there's a 10-meter wide strip. If you end up left of it, you're dead, and if you end up right of it, you're dead. Well, I went left, and I was dead, and Ross went. No, I went left, and Ross went right, and we were both dead. Scott smashed his down the middle. So, and we both paid for it. I picked up mine because we were playing Stableford, and
I played mine out for about 1,000. But anyway, I did par the par 3, that tough one down the hill, that really long one. That was good.
Yes, the 16.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks, Mike. We'll see you all on the next episode of the My Love of Golf podcast.